Welcome to the Dr. Wyatt Show podcast, where developing a long-lasting, happy relationship is the status symbol to achieve, and following my tools is one path to help get you there. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt Fisher, a licensed psychologist specializing in couples counseling. If you want to improve your communication so that you have more love and less conflicts, download my app today, Keep the Glow, KTG, wherever you get your apps. Also, be sure to click the subscribe button for future episodes and follow me on social at Dr. Wyatt Fisher. When was the last time you gave your marriage an entire day to devote all of your focus, to work through your resentments, and to rekindle your love? Well, now's your chance. My Total Marriage Refresh Conference is coming to Tampa, Florida, July 28th. This is my signature conference. I've been doing this for around 10 years. It's one of my favorite things to do because I love working with the couples all day long, helping them make breakthroughs, helping them rethink how they're approaching their relationship, and filling them up with tools and skills. Could you use some tools? Could you use some skills? If so, attend the Total Marriage Refresh. If you live in Florida, it's a no-brainer. If you want to travel to Florida, that's even more powerful because that shows how much you care for your relationship. So if you want to spend the entire day with your partner, unpacking your relationship, resolving your issues, and rebuilding your love, attend the Total Marriage Refresh July 28th in Tampa, Florida. To learn more, go to my website, drwyattfisher.com, click on Marriage Retreats, scroll down, and then click on the Florida link. I hope to see you there. So today is a call-in episode, and that's where a listener calls in, leaves a voicemail with their question for me, then I respond back to it. If you have a question for me, you want me to address it on the podcast, you can call me and leave a voicemail at 303-578-0618. So I'm going to play this listener's voicemail, and then I'm going to respond back.
Hello, I am the low libido partner while my husband is the high libido one within our relationship. We have been working through being more purposeful and clear in communicating our wants and our needs. Recently, he voiced a desire for me to show him more often that I desire him sexually, even if there's no expectation of having sex. In the past, I've tended to feel I'd be teasing and leading him on, so I've avoided this. But since he has opened up and voiced this specific way that he would like to be shown he is loved and wanted, what are some ways I can do this for him?
Okay, so a few thoughts on this question. First of all, it is very common for low libido partners to feel like, I don't want to do anything sexually flirting because that might give my high libido partner the wrong impression, and then they're going to want to have intimacy, and I don't want to have intimacy because I'm low libido, so I'm just going to keep it buttoned down, literally, so I'm not giving any wrong impressions. So that can happen a lot, and so I do appreciate that your husband is saying, I would love to feel more wanted sexually, even if that doesn't mean it turns sexual, because that does give you more freedom. And that's what we need in our relationships and our marriage, that we need to feel that freedom. Now, before I give you some tips, I just want to make sure the base of the pyramid is in place. And this pyramid, I call it the wedding cake model. What that means is that you have to make sure you've cleared out your resentments in your relationship first, because it's hard to be open and emotionally connected and obviously sexually connected if you have active resentment. So that's step number one, resolve your resentments. Step number two, make sure you're fostering your friendship and your closeness with your husband. So that's a once a week date. That's regular head of heart checks. That's one of my tools for emotional intimacy, doing the bullseye question for communication, having a lot of affection. So those things all need to be in place, because then the next tier up is what I'm going to start recommending, which is sexual flirting. And so that's what we're going to talk about. But the sexual flirting doesn't work unless you've resolved your resentments and have built up your friendship. So you want to make sure those things are in place first. Okay, so let's assume those things are in place. Now, how can you start flirting with your partner sexually? One other quick thing I would add in here before I get into the details of how to flirt sexually is it is ideal to have a rhythm of sexual intimacy with your partner at least once a week. If you have at least a once a week rhythm, that creates freedom, because then you can start flirting with your partner sexually without the expectation that it's going to lead to more, because your partner knows we have sex around once a week. And so that creates freedom and vice versa. If you're rarely having sexual intimacy, let's say it's once a month or once every 2 to 3 weeks or even more infrequent, and then you start sexually flirting, it's going to be very difficult for your husband to not want it to go to more. But if you're having sex around once a week, then that does create more freedom because he knows, well, it's going to happen about once a week. And so it's okay if this doesn't go anywhere. So I just want to put that out there as well, because that's another prerequisite that can help sexual flirting feel more free and more possible. Okay, so to get into actual sexual flirting, here's a couple ideas for you. One is think about any time you're changing to flash some of your body. Men are highly visual. And so when they see their wife's naked body, it releases dopamine in the brain. It lights up the reward center in the brain. And so anytime you can flash some of your body while you're changing, that is an opportunity to sexually flirt. And you can start with whatever you're comfortable with, whatever part of your body you feel more comfortable with. It doesn't have to be your entire part of that body, but just flirting by flashing some of your body when you're changing can feel very enticing and exciting for a man, for most men. And so that's one option. If you want to start sexually flirting, that's one way to do it every day when you change. When you change at night to get your PJs on, when you change in the morning to get your daily clothes on, those are opportunities to just flash some of your body. And that could be a way to express, I'm flirting with you sexually. Another opportunity is when you take a shower. So obviously, when you take a shower, you don't have any clothes on. So when you get into a shower or you get out of the shower and you have a towel on or your towel's not on, that's another opportunity to sexually flirt by flashing some of your body because it's something you already do. And so it's not doing anything really extra except for the intentionality of, I'm going to flash some of my body while I'm getting in and out of the shower for my partner. So that's another easy way to start sexually flirting. Another way is think about Google Translator. So when I help couples think about flirting, it's opposite if you're low libido or high libido. If you're high libido, you want to think about how can I flirt with my low libido partner emotionally? Because that's how they experience love. So if you're high libido, your impulse might be, I want to go up to my spouse and grab their sexual parts and whisper something sexual in their ear. And most likely, they're not going to appreciate that because they're low libido. Their love language is emotional. So if you're high libido, you want to convert your sexual impulse to their language, which is emotional. And so instead of going up and grabbing something sexual or whispering something sexual in their ear, you would go up and give them a non-sexual hug and whisper why you love them so much in their ear. That's going to connect with them emotionally and vice versa. If you're low libido, like this woman calling in, if you're low libido married to a high libido partner, you have to do the opposite. So your impulse, if you're low libido, might be, I'm going to go up and give my partner a nice hug and whisper in their ear how special they are. But that may or may not do anything for them because they're high libido. So you have to convert your emotional impulse to their language, which is sexual. So instead of going up and just giving them a hug and whispering how special they are, go up and grab them sexually and whisper something sexual in their ear because that will get their attention and that will make them feel loved. Another idea, another option for flirting sexually is through your phone. And so that can be suggestive texts, that can be suggestive photos, and those can be as mild or as racy as you feel comfortable. But most high libido partners love receiving suggestive texts, love receiving suggestive photos. That keeps their mind, their heart, their energy focused on you. They will eat it up. And again, you do it based on whatever you're comfortable with, whatever feels appropriate. So don't bend over backwards to start sexually flirting, but you may have to push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone because it might be new, it might be unfamiliar. You might feel a little clumsy at first, and that's okay. But this is what it means to be married, is we become sensitive to our partner's needs, and then we start working on how to meet those needs in a way that also works for us. And so it's a growth, it's a learning curve for a lot of people. Another option is nuddling. And nuddling is a relatively new tool that I've developed and I recommend for couples. And this comes after you do your head heart check, then you do your bullseye, and then you do nuddle time. Those three routines, those three tools should take about 30 minutes total. And ideally, you're doing this about 4 nights a week, more nights than not. So, nuddle time, just so you know, in case you're not familiar, head heart check is for emotional intimacy, the bullseye is for communication, and then nuddle time is to merge eroticism with emotional closeness. So, what you do for nuddle time is you both take off all of your clothes and you cuddle for about 5 to 10 minutes. And you don't talk during this time. Instead, you're focused on the here and now. You're focused on what are you feeling? What sensations are arising within you? What's this experience like? And then about midway through and afterwards, you're going to comment on what you're enjoying about it, what's nice about it, what you're appreciating about the nuddle time. And there's no expectations that it's going to lead to more. And so a lot of couples never experience being without clothes on skin, without expectations for sex, without it leading to sex, or without it being sex. That's why nuddle time is really unique because it's an opportunity to be skin on skin, which releases oxytocin in your brain, which is the love drug, the bonding chemical. And it allows you to work through often the anxiety, the discomfort, the unfamiliarity of just being arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, embracing each other without your clothes on, without it going further. And so that's a new experience. And it takes a while to sink into that and to start feeling comfortable in your skin doing that. But it's extremely bonding. And it's extremely bonding, not only emotionally, but also erotically. And so that's another great exercise to start doing with your husband. So those are some tips. You can take it or leave it. You can pick and choose, but those are some ideas for you to start sexually flirting to make your partner feel more wanted sexually throughout the week. Thank you for listening to the Dr. Wyatt Show. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a 5 stars and leave a review. I'd really appreciate your reviews. That just tells me that people are listening and finding this valuable. If you're ready to level up your marriage and you want to learn my tools, join Marriage Saver Society, MSS. You can go to my website, drwyattfisher.com, click on Marriage Saver Society to learn more. But this is my leading digital course. This is where, from the comfort of your living room, you can learn my skills, my tools at your own pace. If that sounds fascinating to you, if you want to grow, if you want to learn, again, go to my website, drwyattfisher.com, and click on Marriage Saver Society. And remember, your marriage is alive. If you care for it and nurture it, it will grow. If you deprive it and neglect it, it will wilt and die. The choice is up to you. Take care.